Sean, before Thursday arrives, you've mentioned some of your favorite futures bets. Give us your absolute favorites you've made so far.
Corbin Carroll, runs leader. It's my favorite player prop to lead the major league in runs. I made this about 9-1 in terms of projecting it out. Modeled these, ran it through 10,000 sims. He wins this about 10 to 11% of the time. He was awful at the start of the year last year. I think he came into the season banged up. He still finished 5th in baseball with 120 runs scored. He led the league in the second half, and what he started doing in the second half was pulling fly balls in the air. It's the best way to get to your power in baseball. You can find the stat on Baseball Savant now, pull air percentage. It's a great stat to look at to find guys who are increasing their power, raising that percentage throughout the season. It's very evident Carroll was trying to get to more pulled fly balls later in the year. And because he's so fast, he gets the second or third automatically on those pulled fly balls to right field. So Carroll walks a ton, not a guy you want to bet for hits leader, but he should be on second base basically every time he gets on base because he steals it or because he hits a double down the line. Love him to lead the league in runs this year. Bet it at 20-1. I'd take that at 10-1 or better. Jacob deGrom, I mentioned AL Cy Young, also to lead the league in strikeouts at 40-1. I just think that's a fun long shot prop considering his upside. When you're betting bets like this, you're assuming everybody's going to get hurt, right? I'm factoring in an injury percentage to every single player. Even the safest guys are still going to get hurt 20% of the time. Even if you assume deGrom gets hurt 70% of the time, he's still a decent bet at 40-1 to lead the league in strikeouts. I think the Jays are a value team. The AL East, I'm kind of down on the Yankees this year. Yankees to miss the playoffs in general. The under, now that Garrett Cole's hurt, there's really not a lot of depth on the Yankees. I think there's a real chance that you get like a goofy group of 3 teams from the AL East to make the playoffs, like the Red Sox, the Orioles, and then one of the Rays or Jays. There's a lot of value, projected value on the Jays right now in the betting market. I would bet their win total over 79.5, 78.5. But if you want to bet longer shot props on them, Vlad to win AL MVP at 15-1, to be the hits leader at around the same price, RBI leader at 30-1. Their divisional odds are about 12-1, 11-1. I think if they're going to get there, Vlad is probably going to need to cash some of those props or get very close to it. So I'd rather take the better numbers. Very similar betting approach. The Cincinnati Reds, who I mentioned before, they're about 5-1 to win the division. Terry Francona in a lot of markets is a better number to win NL Manager of the Year. I just think a lot of these bets are sort of correlated, highly correlated to one another, where if the Reds, they may not even need to win the division. They may just get in with the wild card and Francona wins Manager of the Year. So there might be some ways to bet these teams that you can find player markets or awards markets that are almost directly correlated to those outcomes happening that you can bet better numbers on. Just want to talk about 3 more player props before we get out of here. Logan Gilbert, AL Cy Young. He was the second half strikeout minus walk leader. His velocity increased last year. He changed his pitch mix. Love Gilbert this year. Chris Sanchez, NL Cy Young at 50-1. It seems like a long shot considering he's probably the second or third best pitcher on his team behind Zach Wheeler. This is a guy, though, his velocity is up 3 miles an hour in spring training. Again, you could project all this stuff out, right? Take averages, etc. You have to keep a close eye on improvements guys are making mechanically or in terms of velocity or pitch mixes in spring training. That's where you're going to find the real value in these bets, is combining the math with the scouting. I try to blend it as much as I can. AL Rookie of the Year, Jacob Wilson of the A's. I talked about them being in a big offensive park this year. This guy could hit 300. He blew through the minors. I think he only played 70 games in the minor leagues. He hit over 400 in the minors last year. Came up to the bigs. Second game, tore his hamstring or strained his hamstring and was basically out for the rest of the season. So this was a guy who was hitting like 430 in AA and AAA. It looked like he was going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate last year. Hamstring set him back. I think he's primed to go for 2025 in a park that I think is going to really score a lot of runs. So yeah, those are some of my favorite player props. As I said, the Yankees to miss, the Phillies under, and then the best bet on the board is the Guardians to miss the playoffs. I'm the highest in the market on the Guardians. I'm at minus 240 on them to miss. I'm at 29% for them to make it. Everybody else is at 25% or below. So if, just mathematically, the Guardians is a massive edge. That's like a 15% edge at minus 140 compared to an average projection of minus 275, minus 375 if you throw mine away. Yeah, that's definitely worth betting into. I added it. back to the Action Network app for a third time today. It's the third time I've bet it this offseason. It's still a substantial edge. I bet it at -120, -110, and now -140. So if you're going to place one bet, Guardians to miss the playoffs, I think is a huge edge.